Let me compliment you on substantive answers. Sometimes we get people here who just rope-a-dope, and they'll have a set of statements such as has been just delivered, and all due respect to my colleague, and they just rope-a-dope, and you actually give substantive answers. I thank you for that. By the way, I also, Lindsey Graham alluded to it, going back to tariffs, which Senator Wyden spoke of. I've been very concerned that countries like China manipulate environmental regulations. You point out that they're building 100 coal-fired plants over a period of time, and that whatever we do will not have an impact on global greenhouse gas emissions because China's putting up so many. I believe I've learned that that is called an externality in economics. When we met, we discussed the foreign pollution fee, which would put a levy, a tariff, on those carbon-intensive products coming from countries like China, roughly commensurate with their avoided cost of not controlling it. Now, I would think that my Democratic colleagues would like that, because that's clearly a way that they are manipulating the world economy to steal jobs from the United States and simultaneously increase global greenhouse gas emissions. Any comments on such a foreign pollution fee?
Senator Cassidy, I greatly enjoyed our discussion and the extensive presentation you gave me when I visited with you. And this is a very good question because, and I believe it is one for your Democratic colleagues to understand whether they would be in favor of the equivalent of a carbon tariff. That Senator Graham is in favor of it. And I think this is a very interesting idea that it could be part of a entire tariff program because I think President Trump hasn't taken office yet. But if confirmed, I look forward to working with him on various strategies, some that could be specifically aimed toward carbon, as you say, others that could be aimed toward unfair trade practices, unfair financing practices.
So if you will, there's externalities that a tariff can address. Those externalities in and of themselves hurt the pocketbook or the job prospects of an average American. Let me move on. I think you would agree with that. I applaud your goal to get our debt to GDP ratio down to 3%, or percent of our GDP down to 3%. But you studiously say that we can't talk about things like Social Security. And I think that's because routinely, if we talk about Social Security, we presume that there's going to be a cut in benefits or a raise in taxes. I think we spoke when we met. I and others have a bipartisan plan that would create a pension investment fund separate from the Social Security Trust Fund, and that, just like we do with our 401ks, invested in the broader economy and use the proceeds from that to offset the upcoming 25% cut in Social Security benefits that will occur if we don't address this problem. And just so folks get that, under current law, when the Social Security program goes insolvent in 8 years, per CBO, there'll be a 25% cut in benefits. Under the plan I and others have endorsed, it's a pension investment fund in which we, again, would invest in the broader economy with all the safeguards to keep the government from interfering. I mention that because it seemed that your thoughts about that concept, I think they spoke about it as sovereign wealth. I'm speaking about it as a fund to bail out social. Not, by the way, all risk borne by the fund, none of the risk borne by the beneficiary. She would get her scheduled benefits. What are your thoughts on that?
So, Senator Cassidy, first of all, I want to emphasize that President Trump has said that Social Security and Medicare, they will not be touched. And I believe...
but I'm saying touch in a positive way, not cut benefits, not raise taxes, indeed increase benefits, and take that 25% cut off the table, just to make that clear.
No, I understand. And so those would not be touched. One of the tragedies of this blowout in the budget deficit is that we have to get our short-term house in order to start, before we can start implementing the smart plans such as yours. I do believe that there is discussion to leverage the asset side of the U.S. balance sheet, as we discussed in your office, in favor of a fund, whether it's a sovereign wealth fund, something, as you discussed, a supplemental fund. So that is very much in the mix. I look forward to getting back to you on it. President Trump hasn't taken office yet. If confirmed, this is something that I think could be very exciting, because we always look at the debt of the United States, and we have fantastic assets that could be earning, leveraged, or used for multiple revenue-generating opportunities.
Thank you. I yield.
Thank you.